having to angle my glasses so high right now to combat the awful glare in the ring light. I just can't stand it. But I think this is gonna work. As long as I sit in a certain way, you're just gonna get peeks of it. They're cute though. So today, me and Florence are gonna go over my fall reads for the month. So today we're gonna go over my fall reads for the season. I have got quite the stack, I think. Okay, so first we have these. And then alternatively, these. And then alternatively, these, which are ones that I do not own. Obviously, preference is going to go to the books that I already own. I still need to do my little bookshelf tour video, but I am kind of scared to see just how many books are on there that I haven't read. Like, not scared necessarily, because I do feel like I've read like a pretty good chunk of them, but I used to go a little crazy and just buy books when I was younger because I didn't have time to actually read them, so it like supplemented my want of being a reader when I wasn't able to. But like, I do have like the whole Witcher series, which I've tried to pick up I think 3 times now, and I've not been able to really get into it. So I have stuff like that on here, but I honestly don't feel like it's going to be that bad. Like, that's not the only series that I have, and I have read a lot of the series on my shelf, so I think it's going to be okay. I just need to go ahead and do it. But that's not what this is. So, starting off, the one that is my most anticipated read of the year, honestly, is Orlando by Jacqueline Harpin. Sure, you know this, but I loved I Who Have Never Known Men. It was my top book of last year, and I am learning French so that I can read her other novels. I'm ready for this to be in my arms. I did pre-order it. This one is my favorite cover. I do want that one really bad, but this reprinting cover is pretty cute too, so I'm not upset or anything. I forgot that I was doing this. Anyway, that one is my most anticipated, and I'm literally getting it at the end of this month, and I will be reading it immediately. This is about a person reading Orlando and essentially going, that seems cool, and then jumping into bodies. At least that is my understanding of what it's about. Another must read this fall is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I read Pride and Prejudice last year, and honestly, it took me like a couple of chapters to really get into the language and understand what was going on. So I haven't really read any classics since then, and I'm really wanting to read this one specifically because I've had it for like a million years and I've never actually read it, and I love the movie. But look at this copy. Is that not beautiful? Like, I have to read this fall. I just feel like it is a fall book. I know it gets into the winter times. Maybe I can read it between fall and winter, but it's still fall. Okay, so The Colony by Annika Norlin is about Emily, who is burnt out from a demanding job and bustling life in the city, decides to spend a few days in the country. Once there, in the peaceful, verdant hills down by the river, she encounters a mysterious group of 7 people, each with personal stories of pain, alienation, and the longing to live differently. They are misfits, each in their own way, and all led by the enigmatic and charismatic Sarah. How did they end up here? And are they content with the rigid roles they've been assigned? And what happens when an outsider appears and is initially drawn to their alternative lifestyle but cannot help but stir things up? I just think that sounds like exactly a story that I would like to read, so I'm really excited about that one. And I am also wanting to read They Bloom at Night by Trang Thanh Tran. And this one has a gorgeous cover, which is originally what drew me in. And then it also sounds really cool. Since the hurricane, the town of Mercy, Louisiana, has been overtaken by a strange red algae bloom. Noon and her mother have carved out a life in the wreckage, trawling for the mutilated wildlife that lurks in the water and trading it to the corrupt harbor master. When she's focused on survival, Noon doesn't have time to cope with what happened to her at the cove or the monster itching at her skin. Mercy has never been a safe place, but it's getting worse. People are disappearing, and the only clues as to why are whispers of underwater shadows and warnings to never answer the knocks at night. When the harbor master demands she capture the creature that's been drowning residents, Noon finds a reluctant ally in his daughter Covey. And as the next storm approaches, the two set off to find what's haunting Mercy. I thought that sounded really cool, so I'm excited for that one. And then for the Stephen King books specifically, I am bouncing between 3 of them. And so the first one I have is The Shining. I've been wanting to read this, and I thought this would really be a perfect, over Halloween book. I got this while I was doing basically a holiday for yard sales, which is really fun. It's only once a year, but that's where I got this for less than $1. I got 9 books for $8. I've been wanting to read this for a while, and then I've also been wanting to read Under the Dome. The only thing about Under the Dome that I know is what the dome is. I remember my mom, I don't know if it was a show or a movie, but I remember my mom watching some kind of video production of it. I don't remember anything else about it, but that's the only thing I know, and that's what's drawing me to it. But I did read It by Stephen King, and that's some Mickey stuff in there, so I'm gonna be watching out for those. I did get all of them secondhand, thankfully. Then I also have Salem's Lot. Literally, is this not the coolest cover? I think my mom either got this for my birthday or I borrowed it from her. I'm pretty sure she gave it to me because she's not asked for it back. And I've had that for a while. It's a cool cover though. So I want one of those 3 for Halloween specifically. If you have any comments on those, if you have any opinions, literally, if one person tells me which one I should read, I will read that one. Also part of the curriculum, we have Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Look at my giant buy one get one 50 sticker on there. I think I did get the second book in this series for the 50% off, but I have been wanting to read this for a while, and I just have not had the want to read it. And so now that I'm very specifically looking towards my actual shelves to read off of before I get other books, I need to take a crack at it. I tried reading Six of Crows 3 times. I accidentally stole the book from my high school. I am sorry. I tried reading that book 3 times. I just couldn't get into it. I think I got 30 pages in, and I just could not keep an interest in what was happening. So I had to put a pause on that one, and I'm hoping this will not be the same experience. It really is on me for buying stuff that I don't know if I'm going to like or not. You know, I probably bought it for the idea of reading it also because I've heard great things about it. That's why it's on my radar. Then I'm also wanting to read Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. This is about, I don't know if it's because if I just don't know how to read right now, because okay, I know what this is about. It is about the wife of Shakespeare who writes Hamlet after their son Hamnet, or his name might be Hamlet. I think it's Hamnet because that's the name of this book. This is about the mother of that child that he uses in the story. and he's like famous, so it's Shakespeare. That's what this is about. But this literally is just saying a young Latin tutor, penniless and bullied by a violent father, falls in love with an extraordinary, eccentric young woman. Agnes is a wild creature who walks her family's land with a falcon on her glove and is known throughout the countryside for her unusual gifts as a healer, understanding plants and poisons better than she does people. Once she settles with her husband on Henley Street in Stratford-upon-Avon, she becomes a fiercely protective mother and a steadfast, centrifugal force in the life of her young husband, whose career on the London stage is just taking off when his beloved young son succumbs to sudden fever. So it does kind of say that, but I feel like it's not really saying anything but vibes. I don't like that synopsis, but it's fine because I picked it up because of what I knew it was about. And so after that, we have This Thing Between Us by Gus Moreno, and I have heard great things about this. I am very excited to read this. I'm very scared to read this. I think this is going to be perfect for a kind of like drab, gray, like rainy weekend, which happens a lot where I live. So I am excited to get that one done because it's not very long either, so I don't think it should take me more than a weekend. If I read it at work, it would probably turn into like 4 days, and that's fine. I'm already basically at my book goal for the year anyway. My goal was 40 and I'm currently at 37, and so that's why I'm going to be reading some big ones, which this one is technically 4 stories, so like I can count it like that. But this is the Quartet of the Giver. I have this beautiful edition. I think I got it at like Costco, but I also got this when I was like 17. So that is why it is going in the fall pile. I'm going to read it. I read the first 2, and obviously I remember the first one a lot, but I don't recall like anything but like a single image about the second one, and I don't even know what's going on enough to conceptualize what is happening at that moment. So I need to figure it out. The last one I want to talk about specifically is The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. I did get this. Okay. I'm not a huge fan of the like sprayed edges. Like the little heart in the middle is cute, but it's kind of I don't like it that much. But the actual like book itself and the translucent dust jacket are amazingly beautiful. Because like I just love it, and that's why I'm excited to read it. So I know for a lot of those I said I'm going to read them. That's because they are in my top picks to read. Of course, things can happen. I might not be in the mood to read some of them, and then I also might have something else come up, because priority does shift around here. So this is a very tentative fall list of what I'm going to be reading. Let me know if you've read any of these or if you're planning on reading any of these soon. Thank you guys for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.